So welcome, hi everyone. So I want us to do this next Tell Me About video, and this is a little video all about hormones and the hormones of birth, which are really important, I think, to know about, because understanding how your hormones work and how you can help or hinder them and what's going on in your body in labour and in birth, the more you know about that, well, the better, quite frankly. So I'm going to just talk about just a few of the hormones, some of the key hormones that are involved. There are many others. It's a very intricate system in your body, but these are the ones, the key ones I think it's really important to know about. I talk about them more. I talk about some other hormones too in my courses and classes, but the key ones I think, I'm just going to give you a little overview. So the first thing, hormones are like chemical messengers, signalers to your body for various different processes. The one obviously we're looking at today or thinking about today is labour and birth, and they signal to your body what to do and when to do it, and they often work in combination with other hormones. They don't just work alone. It's important to know that where they're released from the brain. So the brain controls, the body is doing an amazing thing in labour and birth physically, of course, and there's muscles involved, but the control signalling system, the hormones come from your brain. So your brain is massively important in terms of labour and birth, and being in the right mindset and allowing your body and your mind and your brain to do this thing of birth, this thing that it was designed to do, and allowing it to happen is really key. And how the hormones are released and controlled and how you can interrupt that is really important to know about. So the first hormone, and you might have heard this talked about, or you might not. Again, I don't like to assume things because you might know nothing, and that's why you're thinking of booking a course or coming to look at these videos. The first hormone is oxytocin. So oxytocin is massively important in labour, in birth, in breastfeeding, in bonding with your baby, in sex and lovemaking too. It's the hormone of love. It's the hormone that we release to connect with people, with other humans and our children. It's about bonding, it's about connection, about feeling safe and nurtured and loved. And in labour and birth, this is the hormone that starts and part of triggering labour to happen and the surges or contractions to start, and then it also controls the surges and gets them into a lovely rhythm and a pattern, and so is controlled the whole way through the process of labour, from start to a very, very big rush of oxytocin as your baby is born, to promote that connection and bonding to baby. It's also released in breastfeeding to do with bonding and letdown of milk too. It is your hormone of love. It's your happy hormone. It is released from the brain into the bloodstream when you feel safe and protected and private and nurtured and calm and happy and loved, through feelings of touch and hugging and kissing and connection and just having eye contact with people, things like eating good food and laughing and being in a group of friends that you feel really happy in. All of those things will help to release oxytocin. If you conversely are feeling worried or scared or observed or watched or distrustful of people and not quite safe, a little bit on edge, then that suppresses your oxytocin release and actually increases one of the stress hormones, adrenaline. So adrenaline is there to keep us safe. So these two hormones, the oxytocin, the hormone of love, the hormone of safety and security, is inhibited and kind of suppressed, knocked back if we have any kind of worry or fear, whether that is, or feel threatened in any way, whether that is physically or just a perceived thing or something that we're not quite sure about. Different people or environment or spaces can suppress the oxytocin because the adrenaline levels, the stress hormone levels, rise in the bloodstream. So you've got this kind of two-way thing. It's like a seesaw. You can't have high oxytocin and high stress hormone, high adrenaline. If your oxytocin is high, then your adrenaline is suppressed and down because you're not feeling worried or stressed. You're feeling very happy and relaxed. But if you are feeling a bit fearful or unsure or doubtful or distrusting of someone or feeling a bit cold or the environment's not quite right and you can't properly relax, your adrenaline will rise, keeping you more alert, to keep you safe, like a primitive mechanism in the brain. but then your oxytocin goes down and the process of labour and birth can slow down or can kind of stall. So it's all a little balancing out like a seesaw. We've got to think the entire time about keeping the oxytocin, the love hormone, up, and keeping the stress hormones down, keeping the balance tipped in the favour of the oxytocin. So anything you can do to keep the worry or fear or doubt down and feel more calm and confident and loved and protected, and understanding what's happening in your body and why, so you feel happy about the process of labour and birth, will make you feel more calm and confident, will allow your oxytocin to rise, will keep your adrenaline suppressed. The oxytocin also works in this wonderful positive feedback loop with other hormones, including endorphins. And these are natural kind of pain relievers, like an opiate drug, from the same kind of family of drugs, but obviously nothing that is artificially introduced. It's naturally occurring in the body, calming and pain relieving, and these help you cope with the intensity of the surges, of the contractions of labour. So as the oxytocin levels rise, the endorphin levels rise, and if you can up your endorphin levels, the feel good, pain relieving, calming hormones, it will allow your oxytocin levels to rise too. So that can help the process of labour get underway in a really positive feedback loop and get into a lovely pattern, keeping the adrenaline down, keeping the endorphins and the oxytocin up. There are other hormones involved like melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone of darkness, not in like the darkness way, in terms of having an environment that isn't brightly lit, that's kind of subdued lighting, so dark and cosy, like candle lit, that kind of environment helps the production of oxytocin. Bright overhead lights and lots of lights suppresses the melatonin, and that actually brings the oxytocin levels down. So that's why the birth environment and birth space is really important, and things about changing the birth space, which I talk about a lot because it makes a massive, massive difference in labour. It's a very delicate balance of hormones. This whole thing is very, very cleverly worked out over thousands and thousands of years, but it's all very delicately balanced. So lots of things to keep the oxytocin, keep the love, keep the connection will be so helpful. Anything to keep the stress and worry at bay, whether that's fear about the process or fear about pain or fear about people or fear about, traveling to hospital or whatever it is, the more you can do to combat that and prepare in pregnancy, and then allow yourself just to keep those stress hormones at bay, will keep the oxytocin up, and that can be so beneficial to having a labour which is faster and also more comfortable because of the endorphin levels, making it more easier to cope. So staying in your birth bubble, this oxytocin bubble, getting into that and staying into that, knowing how to do that to feel safe and calm and happy and relaxed in labour, massively important, massively important. So you want to work, there's lots of ways you can work with your body and help the hormones, the good hormones, and suppress the stress hormones, but there are lots of ways that you can work against your body if you either don't know or if you're feeling stressed and worried in labour and birth. So having tools and techniques to help with that can be massively, massively important. Your hormones are so, so powerful, and it's really important to understand them and to work with them and look at the whole picture and do what you can to stay in that oxytocin bubble, that love bubble, and stay calm and happy, relaxed and supported in labour and in birth. So that's kind of a real nutshell, a real small snapshot about how they work. Any questions, of course, let me know, drop them in the messages, or any other of these tell me about videos that you'd like me to cover. Again, just let me know what would be helpful for you to know and I will cover it. Okay, thanks so much. Good to see you. Bye.